All right, our first podcast. This is awesome. We wanted to do something. We were a Punjabi couple, Sikh Punjabi couple, and we're like, is there a podcast of other Punjabi couples out there just talking about all things Punjabi, everything in between, about Punjabi culture, Sikh culture, and all their experiences? And we didn't see any, so we're like, why not start one? So this is our first episode. My name's Manpreet,
My name is Tania.
and hopefully we'll have some interesting stories to share with everybody.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's get into it. All right, so a little bit about ourselves. We're married 13 years. We're living in Long Island. We have two girls, 5 and 3, and we're Punjabi. We come from big families on both sides.
Yep.
We're Sikh on top of that. And so we're just going to talk about the experiences. So let's talk about our first experience. I think something that we should talk about in the beginning, because just like how our relationship started was, you know, it's the same as probably all other Punjabi couples. Luckily, my parents, I came here when I was 3 years old. I lived in Iowa, Kansas, then Brooklyn, New York, and I've been in Long Island since 7th grade. And, I come from a very Pindu family. Like my family, like from the Pind, I was born in a village. I was born in a room. I wasn't even born in a hospital. I was actually born in a room in Mulampur. So, um, and that was a whole experience in itself, being Pindu. And so tell us about your side before we get into how we met and everything.
So I came here when I was 3.
Yeah.
I was born in a hospital and definitely from Delhi and came here. We went straight to New York and that's where we've been. And then slowly just everyone kind of just moves closer to each other and you build a community and just grew up in Queens, New York. That's where my childhood was. That's where my family was. My mommy's, cousins. That's my memories of growing up in Richmond Hill, near the Richmond Hill Gurdwara, and that was definitely a part of my childhood.
Right, right. So when we got together, um we met at a birthday party. I mean, that's a story to itself, which we'll tell in some other podcast. But when we did get together and we're like, okay, we want to marry each other, uh, my family, luckily, thank God, is not that much into caste at all, actually. But the first thing they said is like, where is the girl from? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, are they from the Pind or are they from the shed? And I was like, yo, she's Shairi. She's Shairi. She's from Delhi. Yo, the whole family's from Delhi. And that's what my parents were like, oh, okay, okay. And we have family members from Delhi, of course, a huge family, right? But that was just one of the things. I don't know. Did your parents ever, like, when you're like, oh, I met this Munda, don't talk about like how we met and everything. That's a whole other conversation. But just on that side, like, okay, is he Bindu? Is he some caste? Is he from Shad?
No, it never came up. That was never even questioned, Pindua or whatever, Sharia, Kitwa, but it was more about what does he do? What does his parents do? Where do they live? So those were the initial questions. That's really what the whole thing was about, what they wanted to know. So it had nothing to do with what's, where is he from?
Right.
At least not, I didn't get that impression.
Right, right. I don't know. I don't know if people like feel that way in Long Island still, but I feel like everybody has this bin share thing because, we're Sikh, so we go to Gurdwara, and the Gurdwaras are always like, it Pindu on the Gurdwara, Shara on the Gurdwara, Shari on the. And so, like, I've been in Long Island since 7th grade, but every time I went to Gurdwara, it was always in Queens. Right? I never went to Long Island Gurdwara unless it was for a wedding. Right? So, I don't know how. Did you guys have that in your family at all?
I mean, we being from Queens, we always went to the Richmond Hill Gurdwara, and but I do remember growing up there. There were so many different Gurdwaras popping up coming up. Initially, it was just the Richmond Hill Gurdwara, but then it became the 114th Street Gurdwara, and then there was another one. So there was this one was known as Lubaniana Gurdwara. The other one was,
Right.
Ramgarhiana Gurdwara, and that's what they were known as. And we always went to the Richmond Hill one, but
what about when you came to Long Island?
when we came to Long Island, then it was Plainview. It was just natural that we just switched to that one. So I don't know. I'm sure my parents missed Richmond Hill Gurdwara and all that because we lived there for so long, but I don't think it was more. It was more about convenience. It was more, I think, about we're already in Long Island now, so it's just probably like more convenient to go there. But I don't think it was more about like, oh Sada Gurdwara si and that Sada Hagan. So yeah, I never got that feeling from my family or parents.
So when we got married, you came into the family, my big Pind family, that family all over America, and a lot of it on the Northeast. So what did you feel like as a girl coming in? Because now we don't live, I mean, we lived with my parents and, joint family. I'm the only son. I have two older sisters. I'm the only son. So, I take care of my parents. Now we have our own house and, fun fact, my parents live next door. So we didn't go too far from them, but we bought the house next door. We built it and now we're here.
Yeah.
But what did you feel? Like what was your like difference? And it's like, man, these Pindu people, this is really good. Or these guys are crazy.
I never felt initially, or even like for I would say a good couple of years, like it never occurred to me that there was such a big difference, or I never felt that. Initially, meeting the family, I had a big family. So for me, it was just like being at home, being with another big family, and everyone was just welcoming and loving and, so like interested and just always asking about my family and me, how am I doing, how are my parents doing. So I never felt any sort of like disconnect. Um, but I do feel like, when you're just day to day life, when you start hearing day to day conversations, in a different household, more of a Pindu household, I think that's where I kind of started noticing differences. Because my family, like growing up, I never heard my parents talk about like, oh, the Pendua or the Sharia, or we never really talked about things like that. It never came up. And so it wasn't a thing to me. But then that's what I noticed after I got married, like living with you guys, just the way your parents kind of talked, the casual conversations, things would come up like, oh, at the Shairi Hegia, or at the Shahar de Hegia, or Shairi Adda Hegia, Apat the Pindu Hegia, So that's when I started feeling like, oh, I guess there's a difference. So, but then again, I never really grew up around other sort of Pindu people. I was just always around my family, my extended family. So I never felt like a difference. The only time we talked about Pindu people was in the movies. At the Pindu movie, and Pindu was, to me, it was just like the way they spoke Punjabi. They spoke different Punjabi.
Yeah.
Our Punjabi was a little different. And so when we watched a Pindu movie, it was like, oh, at the Pindu Punjabi hegi hai, and it was a little difficult for me to understand them sometimes in the movies, But that's the only time I felt a little sort of like disconnect is after I got married, a couple of years, just day to day conversations, how some, your parents talked at certain times or some people in the family talked, but yeah, but that's never felt it growing up though.
Yeah, no, we had it all the time. We had Pindu people. Hey, that's how we are. We're from the Pind. We're proud of our roots. I grew up on Pindu songs. I grew up on Pindu movies. I've seen them all.
Oh, the songs too. Pindu songs. That was another thing. Like, oh yeah, this is a Pindu song, and again, it was just Pindu because like it was hard for me to understand it because the Punjabi was totally different.
Right. Yeah, no, I noticed that us as a family, that I would get all the Pindu lyrics, and everyone would be like, "What they say?" And I'd be like, "What? You don't know what they said?" But yeah, no, we have that all the time. We have that all the time because Hindus are just very proud of like they've done. They have like
Yeah.
the true pure, culture of Punjab, and everyone else is just like
Yeah.
they're not pure enough like us, and we do things the right way, and you guys don't do things the right way, and that's some shady stuff, and they stained all these like good cultural things we had or whatever, or they Hindified things or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, no, we are definitely, and I'm very proud of that too. So, I mean, with your family, honestly, when we got together, I honestly didn't even know, like, honestly didn't even know you were Shairi people, like, or it never really occurred to me because when we talk, it was just Bindu. But then when your extended family and everybody came together,
Mm.
and one thing we do in our family is that we talk Punjabi. I always talk uh, Punjabi with my parents, my chachas, my
Mm.
fuffers, mamas, everybody. It's just Punjabi. We hardly speak English,
Mm.
right? And so when I started hanging out with your family would like speak English like half the time, and half the time is
Mm.
Punjabi. And the cousins, like all my cousins, we speak Punjabi, we understand Punjabi. I mean, I can't even read, write that. I could definitely can't write. I could hardly read.
Yeah.
But I have
I can
cousins that
read.
could. You can read, but I have cousins that could read,
Mm.
Punjabi and stuff. So when I saw like, okay, the family speaks like English a lot, and then the cousins either they don't listen to Punjabi music or they don't speak Punjabi that well or understand it that well. That's where I'm like, oh God, okay, now I'm getting it. Shady. This is some shady type stuff because it was just weird for me talking to. It is very weird for me because I think of everyone's like grandmas as my grandma, and so I speak
Mm.
Punjabi with them because that's how I grew up with my grandma. And when they're speaking English with me, and I'm like, huh? And I'm like
Uh,
answering in Punjabi. It's a little weird for
yeah.
me. I'm like, I don't
Okay.
know. It just that up and up button is a little like, this person is an auntie. This
Mm.
person is not BG, or this person is not,
Because they were
a
speaking
grandma.
English with you.
Yeah, because they speak English with me, and I'm like, okay, so that was my differences. That's a little culturally shocking
Interesting.
for me.
Mm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, you know what else is funny is that, and this is just totally like, this blew my mind actually, that my mom and my parents, I mean, we're like pinned, right? So you know that obviously, but my mom, I mean, she loves cooking and she just makes every type of food. Like my
Mm.
mom makes lasagna, my mom makes burgers, my mom makes barbecue chicken, my mom makes all this stuff, bacon, cheeseburger, like everything. We eat everything too.
Yeah.
Like even though like I think the original Sikh way where you eat everything except halal, but that's another conversation. But so we eat everything. My mom makes homemade pizzas. My mom made pizza
Yeah.
from scratch, and she like we did that. We did that when I was like 4 years old. No, not 4 years. When I was in fourth, fifth grade, like we started doing it.
Mm.
So it was just it's just one of those things we grew up with. So it
Yeah.
was, and we're Bindu. But then when I came to your side, and I'm like, oh, you guys have burgers and bacon, and like nobody eats that stuff at your house. It was just like desi food,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's weird. That's so funny that you guys are more, I would say, white collar, but more like you're a little more open because you're from the city life.
Hmm.
So I would think you guys would be eating all this stuff and making all this stuff at home. And
Right.
when I'm like, oh, you don't have this at all? And one of the funniest things to me was when you guys didn't have a pizza cutter at home and we made pizza, and I'm like, you guys don't have a pizza cutter at your house? We have like seven in my house. Like, I don't know. It was just it was
Yeah.
totally caught me off guard. Like, wow.
I could see that. I
Yeah.
could see
And I might
that.
be an anomaly. That might be new mommy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it's not traditional, where your mom knows how to cook all these foods and it was like it's great food. Like she's the best
Yeah,
cook.
she's good.
But that I don't think that is traditional. But most of the time in my household growing up, we just had Indian food. If we wanted like Chinese or if we wanted American, we would just order it, you know. But
Right.
yeah, I didn't grow up like eating burgers or steak and making lasagna or pasta at home. Like we grew up making just Punjabi food and ordering it if we wanted pizza or whatever, because um, I think a part of the reason was because we had our own businesses and they were working long days, and um, it was tough to come home and probably cook all those different foods. It's just easier to make what you know and more convenient. But yeah, your mom, that definitely caught me off guard too when like you were having like mashed potatoes and chicken with gravy and corn. I'm like, what? And then
Yeah, and the
the
next
next
day
day
we
it's
have
like,
makki roti and saag.
yeah, yeah.
Which is
Saag, definitely, I gotta say, we made saag, but sometimes it was from a can. You
that's
know?
sacrilege. That is sacrilege in my house.
I would never tell your mom that, but it was, and we ate it. It was good. We
Yeah,
liked
it's
it.
good.
It was good.
I had it, yeah.
Yeah, but then when I got married and then I ate saag at your place, I was like, oh, this is what they call saag. Oh, this is makita. Oh wow, because that
Yeah,
was thanks, and she takes pride in it. It's like
right.
maki roti is not easy to make.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of practice, and it's great, but you got to know how to make it. So yeah, we didn't grow up eating like that. Um,
right.
so that's definitely food wise. I don't know. It was conflicting for me because it was like a Pindu household, but then we ate so much like American food that your mom just loved to cook, and so it was love. It was great. I loved it.
Right.
I'm a foodie, so
Right.
but yeah, we grew up differently in that sense for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a Pindu Shetty thing. I just think it's your mom just loved to cook.
Could be. No, no, my
And you
mom.
had three kids in the household, so I'm sure like you
Right.
guys wanted different foods and all that.
Yeah. Maybe she was always willing to try whatever,
Yeah.
mix whatever. I mean, she watched the Food Channel when she
Oh
got home.
yeah.
Yeah, so she loves all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. But anything you notice in the Sikh aspect?
I don't know if there's any. I mean, again, your family, Sikhi wise, I think again, you grew up in a very different household, um, where you had a lot of elders who were knowledgeable in Sikhi and grew up, they grew up in that household too. So there's a lot of experience and knowledge that I think you grew up with. And in my household, we did like every other week. Our family, like my mamas and mommies, we all got together and we did spot and sort of like vyakya and all that. So that's what I remember growing up, Sikhi wise. It was important. The kids sat and we all, learned and tried to understand what the meaning of what we were reading, what the meaning was. Um, but that was our perspective, that Sikhi is important. It's important to learn uh, why we're reading this and what it means and all that. Um, but your family, I think it was a lot more structured, where history was a lot more in the forefront, rather than just repeating the part or the Gurbani. It was more about what's the history here, what's the lesson here, and you had a lot of different perspectives too. So I noticed that too. Your family and my family. Um, my family, like the elderly, we it was basically Auntie G and Uncle G. They were like the elderly who imparted their knowledge. But I think in your family, you had your Chacha Ji, your Taya Ji, Ago Ona de whoever they learned from.
Right.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Definitely, we grew up differently in that sense too.
Yeah, we did. I realized
Yeah.
when we were doing it, but I mean, it wasn't like too off. It was just more of. But even when you did Vyaka and stuff, it was more. Again, it was more like way more English focused,
Mm.
way less Punjabi. Everyone was like speaking in English. Everyone was like saying, all their Vyaka stuff in English, and we would just do it in Punjabi, and we would read uh, past historical perspectives on it in Punjabi, the Tikas in Punjabi, all that stuff. So that was a little different, a little more in depth research and all that stuff. So yeah, but that was either way, it was a good thing to
Mm.
do, to get together every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
do Vyaka, do Sikhi. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, my family is, yeah, luckily, I'm very blessed actually. But my family's very into it, but very methodically into it. They're well researched. No, we grew up with like just know why you're doing things. Most people go through religion and any religion, they don't know why they do stuff, but they keep doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And then when even my friends, when I ask them like, why do you do this? Like, I don't know, man, my parents did it. Right. But I'm one of those people like, why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to do this? Like, so I read about it and know about it. And then you love it more because then there's like a reason behind it.
Yeah.
And you realize in Sikhi, there's actually a reason and focus behind a lot of things that you do. Why, but people just don't want to do it. They just do it ritualistically. So my family's very not into rituals. They're like, we have to know why we do certain things. There's no ritualism in it. So
Yeah.
it's good. It's great. I mean, I'm very like that, good or bad. I have to know. I have to know meanings behind things and why I do certain things, and
Yeah.
why.
But I don't know if it's a ritual, but I think more culturally too, we were different in that sense because you guys didn't do things like rakri,
Yeah, we
you
don't do
know,
luckily.
and we know obviously that's not like Sikhi or it's not anything related to Sikhi, but it was more of a cultural thing that we enjoyed doing, and it was just a special day. We grew up looking forward to it and all that, and but then I noticed, it was not a thing in your household.
Right,
know,
right.
which
It's
was,
not a thing in
I
our
mean, no
house.
one said anything to me about it, but it was just a little like, oh, okay, it's not really celebratory, or no one looks forward to that day, and
Right.
um, it was just kind of not a thing.
It was one of those things where there was no like meaning behind it for anyone,
Hmm.
you know. And so when you question it, and I would question everything. That's how I grew up too. Like you should be questioning things. And so nobody could explain like why do you do certain things. And so Rakhi came up, and I think I did it one time because I just happened to be in India at that time. This was like 20, I went 1989 or 90 when I went back. And so, but I haven't done it since then, nor I care, nor my family ever does it because we realized, it's everyone's equal. If we're all equal, you could protect me, I can protect you. What is I'm going to protect my sister. My sister can protect herself.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those things. And then when you hear the Guru's message and Sikhi message, it's totally opposite. Like, no, no, no. Everybody could be at the highest level. Everybody
Everyone's
could be
sovereign.
equal. Everybody's sovereign.
Yeah.
Everybody could protect themselves. You don't need anyone else's protection. You know. So all those things, and you're like, that makes total sense. Of course, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it
so,
makes sense.
so that's why
100%.
we didn't do it. That's
Right.
why it's like, okay, then I don't want it. I don't need it. My sisters never cared, and I never cared. So yeah, that is different. That you're
Yeah.
right. The culturally, that is different. That is different. And now I have two daughters. Like
Hmm.
and there's still people in not my side, but there's still people on your side that probably do rakri or
Yeah.
anything like that, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, do whatever you want. Everyone
Right.
just do whatever you want, but I don't want my daughters to do it because I want to instill in them like you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
Hence why you're probably going to take karate later, and you're probably going to take self-defense later, and you're just going to be your own woman
Yeah.
later, right? I don't need you. You don't need any other. And we only have two daughters, but they don't need any other protection from anyone.
Of
The whole
course.
point of it is making them independent for themselves,
Yeah.
which makes sense to them, right?
Yeah.
So that's how.
I mean, I don't think anyone in my family or like extended family did it because they thought, oh, this will protect our
Right.
girls or whatever. That was never a thought. It was more of just, it's something fun
Yeah.
and another chance, excuse to get together and to just get the kids together and,
Right.
to do this and just like have a fun day. So that was more, and then you got money out of it.
Yeah, I know.
That was
I'm sure the girls will love the money too.
yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
they'll love it.
So, I mean, even if our girls do it just out of because they love their cousin brothers and, out of that connection and relationship, it's in no way like does it have any meaning behind it about like protection and you need this because you can't protect yourself or you need an older brother, and it's like that will never be the thought behind it. If it does happen or by any chance, if we do it, it'll just because it's just something fun, that we happen to do this year.
Right. There's no thought behind it, but it's more like the main thought that it came out of in the other religions, and then Hinduism, uh, is that thought of protection.
Right.
So you're just doing it as fun and diluting it. It's like, then what are you doing? You're not even respecting their religion enough to have that thought. You're just doing it fun. It becomes kind of like a mockery in my
Is it
in
a
my view.
religious thing?
In my view,
Or not
culturally
religious?
religious. I mean,
I don't know if it's like a religious thing in
I don't know. I don't know, but there is some protection. There is some story that it came out of.
Right, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, it's called Raksha Bandhan, right? It's like we never even use that term in my house.
Yeah.
Right. Like even Karva Chauth, like I've seen it in the I've seen it in the movies, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool that they do that.
Yeah, no, we never did that.
Yeah.
Nor did my mom or like
Yeah.
none of my cousins that
Yeah.
I've seen gotten married.
You can't personally fast anyway for a day.
I would never want to do it.
Yeah. So
I don't think we'd be married if you wanted me to do it.
Please, you'll have me for the next 7 lifetimes. You have to. It's like,
yeah, but I'm not eating for how many hours? Yeah, no, not gonna happen.
Right, right.
But yeah, that's a big thing too, I think. I don't know. That's not a Pindu thing in the culture.
Who knows? I don't know what they do now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I've never grew up like that, nor are my Pindu friends, nor anyone that ever done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like Sikh Panjabi household, not anybody else.
If I have seen like or heard of or certain friends or extended friends or family doing it, again, I think it's probably just out of fun, something that they do just to get together and all that. But yeah, nobody that I really know
believes that your husband's going to be together with you and this.
No.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's all of it's just becoming huge party scenes.
And even that, like people that I know have done it probably in the first year of their marriage, just because they just got married and a newly married girl, and she just wants to do it.
Now they're the 8th year.
In the movies, yeah.
And in the 8th year, they're like, forget that dude. I don't care what happens. I'm eating.
I need to eat.
I'm eating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, other than like the big families, everything was good. Everything's great, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're just talking about like some differences, but nothing hinders family being close and good and respectful and all that.
No, the love is there, and just the respect and everything you would want in your family, extended family, in-laws, and all that. That's all there. But another funny thing is just like the Panjabi, the boli. That definitely that strike me as a big difference. It's like your mom speaks so fast sometimes, though the Punjabi is a little different and hardcore, and so it took me a while. It took me a while to understand.
You got a PhD in it now, don't you? Got a PhD in that.
But I mean, now probably I speak like that
at
some point. But
no, I realized
that was a big difference. And I speak Punjabi. I wasn't like a whitewashed, Punjabi ni aandi, and I read Punjabi, and we grew up learning Gurmukhi and how to read Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But yeah, that was trying to understand certain bullies and how people in the family spoke and all that. That was a little different for me.
Yeah, no, it fascinates. No, it was funny for me too when we were watching the Panjabi movie Juliet. I still remember we're watching it, and Diljit comes at the end trying to get the girl and all that stuff, and he says like these funny lines, and I was like laughing, and I looked at you and your brother, and they're like, "What'd he say? What he said?" I'm like, "You didn't understand that? That shit was hilarious. That was so hilarious." But then I realized, and then
yeah, we need the subtitles.
It's just friend-love at it. It's just friend-love at it, but. She's like you and your brother did not get it, but it always fascinates me too. Like the new school of kids where they love Punjabi music, they don't know what the song is saying.
Yeah,
it just like boggles my mind. I'm like, you're head bopping to this and you love it and you heard it like 20 times, but you don't know what it's saying. Like, maybe they just know the hook, maybe they know a couple of words.
Yeah,
but I grew up like I'm a big Gurdas Mann fan, everyone knows, but I wanted to know, like, the reason I love him because I'm like, the lyrics are so good and I get to learn a lot about Punjabi culture. I get Punjabi vocabulary in me and just like idioms and all that stuff. And I love it. Now I know all these Punjabi songs. I listen to all these artists, but I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And if I like it, it's great. If I don't like it, I kind of don't listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's a new age thing, because definitely when I was growing up, at least for me, songs that became popular, like, we knew the hook, we knew like the
Right.
main verse, but the rest of the song, I didn't really understand the Punjabi or the lyrics there. But even though I knew Punjabi,
Right.
we spoke it, but yeah, when it came to songs, we knew the popular ones and all that. But if it was like a Pindu song, I didn't know what they were saying. I would dance to it. I'd definitely run to the dance floor, but yeah, I just don't ask me what it means.
Right.
But yeah, I think also because again, that comes back to how you grew up. Like you wanted from a very early age, because you love Gurdas probably, but you wanted to learn the meaning, and you knew like the deep meanings of the words and the different interpretations of it too. And also growing up in like a very good Mookie sort of household, more so than mine.
Right.
You had that like that what's that called, like kitsch, or that
Right.
jaw
Right.
to I gotta know what they're saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
That's just my personality too. I have to know
yeah,
what the
that's what I'm
song is.
saying. It's more you too.
It is. It is. I have to know what the song is saying, and I have to,
Yeah.
when I hear the Punjabi song, I'm like, oh, that lyric makes sense. Oh, that was a good,
Yeah.
rhyme that he did, and it was a good, bar or whatever. And Punjabi songs now, and I like it. And if they say something really good, great. Most of the songs these days have, all the artists have said it in the '80s already. They're just like rehashing things, and they're not saying anything new. But when I listen to something new, it's great. But yeah, it does give you a feeling of, I want to know what this Punjabi word is. I want to know this is. And then when you do read Gurbani too, you want to know what it is. So it helps me there too. Not the Punjabi part, because Gurbani is only like 30-40% Punjabi, but also like, the part where, okay, I read this. Now this is what we're reading at night. This is what we're reading in the morning. What is it saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're just reading it, then the sake of reading it, again, becomes a ritual. But anyways, that's, I don't know, that's just in my DNA or my habit or whatever that I've formed. Yeah, which is good, which hopefully my kids will have. Hopefully. Who knows? Yeah.
We gotta speak more Punjabi with them.
Yeah, we got to speak more Punjabi in the house. I agree. We got to speak more Punjabi.
I mean, we're like a Shairi household now, because majority of the time we speak English with them.
I know. That is true.
I still try.
I got to go back to my Pindu roots.
I do try to speak more Punjabi with them, more than you do.
You do.
But I'm a little surprised. I thought you'd be more...
I mean, my quick thoughts out, and boom, it just comes in English. Boom, boom, boom. And I know they will understand that right away.
Yeah, of
me
course.
doing Punjabi first and then doing the English. And I just want him to, I don't have as much patience as you. Let's keep it real.
True. Yeah. Thanks for the credit.
Yeah. All right, cool. That was good. That was good. Well, I'm glad. Our first podcast. That was good. Good episode.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it.